Madison Rousseau was an inspiration to cancer sufferers. Her story gave hope to the dying. She rallied support from the Quad Cities, but it was all a sham. Rousseau, who was 18 and a freshman at St. Ambrose University, never had pancreatic cancer or leukemia or a tumor the size of a football wrapped around her spine. She collected more than 39 grand from 439 donors at cancer charities. The judge ordered Rousseau to a 10-year suspended prison sentence with 10 years of probation. So she didn't actually do jail time.
Good lie!
Apparently, a TikToker has been caught lying about cancer, and she got arrested for it. Now, I didn't even know this lore, okay? I'm unfamiliar with this lore, but SunnyV2 has done a video about it. Her name is Madison Rousseau, and apparently she just faked cancer. Apparently she straight up faked cancer, which is not the first time we've seen it. I mean, Boogie did it, but I'm curious if this will be a more malicious thing. Because Boogie will try to use plausible deniability to be like, oh, well, you know, I thought I had it, you know, maybe I exaggerated it a bit. But then we saw that old clip of him where he's like, yeah, you know, I kind of knew I didn't have it, but I kind of just said it so that people will feel bad for me, right? Why is this a common grift? Well, I would guess because here's my prediction, okay, for people like this. When you're on the internet and then you're in real life, there's this like miscalculation that a lot of people will make where they think that there's like a separation between the internet and real life. And there can be if you treat it that way. But if you're somebody who's like using your real face and you are talking about your private life all the time, or you're especially, people don't really make that delineation. These things can bleed together. So she probably thought, well, I'll just lie about it online and no one in real life will ever even know. No one in real life that knows me will ever even see the internet stuff, so I'll be able to get away with it. Either that or she is like a completely crazy person. But I would guess it's something like that. She thought she could like separate these things and just nobody would ever find out, you know? Because unless you post medical records, like what other proof can there be? You know, typically if you say you have cancer, people are just inclined to believe it because they feel bad for you. They don't want to have to ask for medical records because it looks like a thing, right? Because like the implication that somebody who has cancer will be lying about it, you just look like a bad person if you're even questioning them.
She was diagnosed with cancer, raised $37,000, but was given
she got money for it. She got $37,000 for it.
a heavy sentence as the cancer never existed. Born March 2003, her name is Madison Rousseau, and she was a University of Iowa student when she began feeling, quote, just a little bit off. She experienced sporadic fevers, some bloody stools and random nosebleeds, leading to a checkup with her university doctor. On the 10th of February 2022, at the age of only 19, Maddie was given a diagnosis she never could have predicted.
She's kind of a baddie though, I don't know. Maybe I'll like forgive her. I mean, look, if you're this hot, I feel like you can lie about cancer once, right? It's kind of whatever. It is what it is. She's probably rich, you know. She probably drives like a cool car. Maybe she'll buy me like a Canada Goose coat or something. You know, those really expensive coats like all the rappers wear. She's not hot. Yes, I mean, she's not like amazing, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, you guys are so judgmental. Why discriminate? You know what? Why discriminate? Her head is a bit long, but I guess that matches you. True, it does. Shirley looks like an aunt. I'm aunt maxing. What's wrong with auntie girlfriend? What's wrong with auntie girl? Okay, wait, I realize that sounds really bad. I fix her, bro. She's just my type. I think you can do it, Rusty.
I got the call from my oncologist and they found a mass on my pancreas and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old.
Out of 25 different cancers, pancreatic has the lowest chance of survival.
The 5-year outlook of survival is a slim 11.
So even if she's lying about it, she even researched ahead of time, like what are the deadliest kinds of cancer? What are the deadliest kinds of cancer you can get that are the most life-threatening, that will give you the most sympathy? She researched it ahead of time. She was plotting carefully.
However, this initial announcement video was already somewhat suspicious. She kept on looking to the left like she was reading off a script, which would be a pretty strange approach to talking about a life experience.
True.
It's her looking at her script for me. Perhaps she wrote it out to keep her words concise, but also how she was diagnosed didn't sound right.
You don't just have an oncologist. It takes weeks, months. You have to find one.
All right. Sweetie Pie allegations destroyed. Auntie Baddie allegations destroyed. Brett Cooper is in the building. Dude, I'm retarded. What the even is an oncologist? A doctor who has special training in diagnosing and treating cancer. I guess it would be weird to just have an oncologist. Unless you're at like high risk or something, like medical family history of that kind of thing. Tom likes basic white. Yeah, of course I do. Basic white are like, this is just the dream. What do you mean? What else am I supposed to like?
I stepped out of the classroom and took the call. They told me they had found a mass on my pancreas and that I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer. I was terrified and I definitely still am. I was in shock. I didn't think it could be true. I'm so young and I wondered how this could happen. I went through all the emotions and I was pretty numb.
I mean, the thing is, right, with this kind of person, like with this kind of situation, much like with Boogie, like it just looks to question somebody on their cancer diagnosis, right? If it's plausible at all that they have it, it looks really to question them. So even though it seemed like she was reading a script off of the initial video where she announced it, like, you can kind of rationalize that with like, well, maybe she just wanted to plan her words. And on top of that, if you don't have irrefutable proof that she faked it and you accuse her, look at how you look, you know? It's like, if you're wrong, you just accuse someone of faking cancer when they actually have it. You look like a horrible person. And even if you're questioning them, that can be seen as an accusation. Like if people in the comments were asking her, or people on TikTok were reacting to her being like, oh, why don't you prove you have cancer? Like, and then she does prove it, like, they would look like complete assholes.
I remember hanging up the phone and I was a mess. I was literally bawling, but somehow I ended up getting the courage to wipe away my tears and went back into class, which now when I think about it was pretty crazy.
Man, she had a whole story about it too. She had a whole like traumatic experience story that like you would see in a Hallmark movie written up about it. That's crazy.
You never want to get cancer, and if you do get diagnosed, you can't choose where you get it. Of all the ones, why does it have to be this one? Again, implying to everyone that she'd been given the worst cancer possible. To make matters worse, surgery was not an option as my tumor is on the tail of my pancreas, and it's very deep rooted. Doctors said that if they went in, the surgery would do more harm. There was more risk than reward.
So she even researched cancer ahead of time to figure out like what conditions would make it so that she's more likely to die or more terminal. Thank God I made it to a slop stream. One of your favorite pay pigs do the Charleston Thug Shake. All right, Turcolini, I'll do that right away. But thank you for being a member. I appreciate it. I don't understand why people want to share these personal things online. I mean, there's a few reasons. Like, I don't really get it either. I've never really felt the desire to share like my deepest, darkest moments online, like ever. But also like I use the internet in a different capacity. I use it in like a professional capacity. So I just don't have a desire to do that. But for some people, I say professional, you know, I mean, literally professional. I'm not saying I'm a professional epic person. Okay. Before anybody gets any ideas. Okay. I am retarded. But I think a lot of people who maybe don't have like a lot of solace in real life, like let's assume that this person did have cancer, you know, hypothetically, if they don't have a lot of friends in real life to talk about, you know, the issue with, maybe they're going to want to go online and talk about it. And sometimes they think that, you know, sharing their experience can help other people who are going through similar things or have had family members who go through similar things. Like there can be decent cases of, you know, reasons people might want to post personal stories online. The problem is when you lie about it.
And as a result, she'd instead be doing 15 rounds of oral chemotherapy, along with 90 rounds of radiation. She'd document the journey as a way to help her coach, trying to act as an example that she could maintain looks and lifestyle.
She even faked like having a little tape with like shit on her chest. Or is that her headphones? I could be wrong. Hold on, I think I am wrong there. I think that's just her headphones.
She'd write, round 14 of chemo ended last Friday, and by Sunday night, I decided to throw on my running shoes and see where they took me. Well, they took me 6 miles. I'm thinking the bags of blood I received earlier in the week fueled this one and made me speedy, although to a person with leukemia named Anna Tower, this was again very strange. She wrote, when I saw Maddie's post about her going for a run, she looked pretty. She had all her hair and was strong enough to go running, a run I was missing since my diagnosis. So there I was sitting on the couch, looking at that post and asking myself, what was I doing wrong? Why was I bald, weak, and couldn't even think about walking, let alone running? Walking to the car to get to the hospital was a challenge. I was thinking I did something wrong, or maybe that I was not strong enough.
Why is everything #challenge, #strong? Is that just how people on Facebook type? Is that just how they type? I mean, it seems here like she's trying to just garner like sympathy for her illness, but also recognition for like fighting through it so much. There was an interesting conversation that, I mean, this isn't like the super scientific analysis here, but there was an interesting conversation that Dr. Phil actually had on Joe Rogan about false accusers. In particular, he was talking about Jussie Smollett. You remember the guy who he claimed that a hate crime happened to him, and like 2 Trump supporters walked up to him and were like, this is MAGA country, and like called him the N-word and threw a noose around his neck, and then it turned out he lied about the entire thing. He was talking about how people like that who do false accusations, a lot of the time, the way they justify it in their mind, whether consciously or not, is because they feel unrecognized or like unsympathetic in other areas of their life. Like privately, they feel like maybe they've tried to express some kind of struggle they go through, and they feel like people in their personal life aren't really being sympathetic to them. And so as a result, what they'll do is, you know, on the internet, they'll try to gain sympathy for some kind of fake situation that happened to make up for it, which is pretty interesting.
Massively implying Maddie's appearance was also highly suspicious. People began to ask, how do you have chemo and keep all that beautiful hair? To which she'd post the following video.
How I am keeping my hair during treatment with chemo and radiation. My mom found this. It's biotin with collagen and keratin.
Maddie claimed that she'd kept her hair by using vitamin supplements, but with comments like, like, I guess the biotin is stronger than
Dude, if biotin is not strong enough to prevent dudes' hairs from falling out due to male pattern baldness, then biotin is definitely not strong enough to prevent your hair from falling out when you're going through chemotherapy. Like it's just not the case. That makes no sense. The perplexing thing about people like this to me is the endless justifications and the like additions to the lies. Like, you would think if she knows she's lying, she would want to avoid all kinds of scrutiny and would just not talk about it anymore. Because the more you talk about a lie and try to justify it, you dig yourself deeper in a hole that you can't climb out of, and eventually you just have like lie on top of lie on top of lie. She maybe could have gotten away with this if she just made the one TikTok and that was it. She never posted about it again. But I think that, you know, part of the reason people like this get caught is they just endlessly justify the lies and they want to look good to the audience and they don't want anybody to know that they're lying at all. And in their mind, the best way to do that is to respond to everybody who is like questioning what's going on, when obviously that just digs you deeper and deeper, you know? For these people, for these liars, they just can't help themselves.
adjust her claim, stating it did fall out sometimes.
I was like brushing my hair and a few like pieces were like coming out as I was brushing my hair.
She'd post this photo to show she wasn't lying, but it was
Wait, but that's like after a haircut. What? This is way shorter than normal. You can literally tell it's been trimmed. Like, she just cut off her split ends or something. Once again, I like just endlessly justifying the lie. I don't know how she thought this would work. I don't know how she thought this would be good. It almost seems like she wanted to get caught. Walter White behavior. Like, with something this dumb, like you know you're gonna get caught at some point.
pretty damn obvious these were simply from a haircut. Additionally, Maddie was super tanned in every single photo, which again was weird as they don't let you tan or use self-tanners during chemo. Her response, get this, was that the radiation treatment was keeping her golden brown. Maybe this radiation was also recharging her energy, as Maddie gave talk.
I mean, don't they say that tanning beds can cause cancer? Maybe she was onto something there. Thank you, Pennywise. Maybe she was onto something, you know? Maybe she had some kind of, some kind of deep thought process going on. She was actually, the whole method for lying was to talk about the dangers of UV radiation and the fact that sometimes tanning beds and, overexposure to the sun can cause skin cancer. She was raising awareness for a different issue. She is a genius, okay? You guys got baited. We got baited. She, much like Dr. Disrespect, she is playing chess while we are simply playing checkers.
Talks at St. Ambrose University, the SAU Generosity Night, and for the National Pancreas Foundation. In the process, she'd appear on podcasts.
She did a speaking tour.
How would you define the term pancreatic cancer?
The first word that's in mind is just ugly.
Before announcing she'd gotten a second type of cancer. It is with
No
heartbreaking
way!
shock that I share the news that my cancer has spread to my blood and is acute lymphoblastic leukemia on
She should look like a ghoul from Fallout by this point. And she's still like a normal, pretty looking girl. Are you gonna live react to Kamala Harris on Call Her Daddy like you reacted to Hawk Tuah? Did that actually happen, dude? Call her daddy? This is going to make me hate women, isn't it? Is this even on YouTube? Or am I supposed to react to this? Kamala Harris to guest on Call Her Daddy podcast. Is it not out yet? Cancer maxing. She just was a big Leafy fan. That's why she couldn't stop saying the word cancer. She couldn't stop watching Leafy back in
top
the day.
of my original diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. Should therefore update her GoFundMe.
It's like a gambling addiction. You see with these people with the lying, it's like a gambling addiction. They get addicted to the rush of lying and getting away with it. They get away once. She got to do all these speaking tours. She got to be on podcasts and talk about it. She got all the sympathy from the comments. And as a result, she gets like a rush off of getting away with that. And then she does it again and again and again. It's pathological. Pathological liars have contempt for the people they lie to. Yeah, I think they're like, look at these puny fools believing my lies. These idiots.
Writing, Maddie's cancer has been progressively getting worse and has spread all over her body, including throughout her blood and also on her spine. She's tried everything and given it her all. Chemo, radiation, and other methods have no longer helped. As a result, donations flooded in, totaling
Oh my God.
37,800.
Okay, but at this point, at that point, when the lies are stacking up, any reasonable person would be like, okay, I got away with the lies. Obviously, if I actually lie about cancer, somebody's going to figure out, that I'm raising money illegitimately, right? Like, not only lying, but then, like, doing a straight-up scam publicly. You have to have some kind of, like, forethought that, like, it's going to be over. She seems to have, like, this is, like, a legitimately mentally ill person. What is the psychology of a pathological liar? Psychology, originally known as pseudologia fantastica, has an established theory within clinical practice and literature, although it has not been recognized as a psychological disorder within major nosological systems. Okay, interesting. The frequency with which people lie varies. Considerable research is found on the normative aspects of lying. Deception has been defined by Vridge as a successful or unsuccessful deliberate attempt without forewarning to create in another belief which the communicator considers to be untrue. Interesting. So it hasn't actually been classified as a mental disorder according to the DSM-5. Research investigating pathological lying is scant. One study of 1,000 young offenders found excessive lying among 15% of males and 26% of females. Ooh, female L. A recent imaging study found that 12 participants who endorsed the PL item from the PCL showed an increase in prefrontal white matter and reduction in gray matter and white matter ratios compared to normal control participants and antisocial control participants. Excessive lying in 26% of females? That's 1 in 4 girls? Interesting. 1 in 4. 1 in 4.
Maddie's close family friend Peggy Ole, whose husband died of pancreatic cancer, also sent Maddie a whole package of support materials, including $500 in gift cards. To keep the money rolling in, Maddie befriended a fellow cancer patient named Charlie, who passed away in October 22, leading Maddie to make the following post. This just absolutely breaks my heart. Charlie and I would text each other daily, talking about all the ups and downs of both our battles with cancer, and she was seriously just a sweet, genuine soul. We were the same age, lived within minutes of each other, and could relate to each other 100%. Sadly, it seemed Maddie's cancer was also getting worse, as she'd post a compilation showing everything she'd been through, included those of her in.
She looks perfectly fine. Ooh, how did she fake the one on the right? Did she just go to the hospital to get an IV drip? Wait, it's in her nose though. How did she even fake that? Did she have like a friend at the hospital or some, like, this is a lot of planning. Did she just buy like medical equipment to make it look like she had cancer? You probably buy this stuff online. I'm sure you can, but it's so much planning. It's so much planning to fake this.
Hospital, although it would be through these that Maddie was finally exposed. TikToker Scrub Hacks, who worked inside a hospital, noticed Maddie's medical equipment was installed incorrectly.
Ooh.
What is going on with that chest port? I am not a chemo nurse.
Okay, I was right. It was a chest port. That is what I thought it was. When she had the thing taped to her chest.
But this doesn't look like a port to me. The dressing is really screwed up with her feeding tube that's not primed. Let's go closer to her nose. Is that the end of the feeding tube?
One comment clarified,
not even in her.
chemo nurse here and that ain't a port. Again confirmed by a medical doctor.
Tom, you don't understand. She's the Incredible Hulk. Radiation doesn't affect her. True. I feel like the Incredible Hulk would have cancer, no? Wouldn't that make sense? I feel like the Incredible Hulk just got cancer, but then it was like a good kind. There must be some good kind of cancer you can have, right? Like, could I get some kind of cancer from going to like Chernobyl, but it's actually cool? Like, I'll be like really nice. Like, I'll get taller or something maybe, or like my biceps will get bigger, or like my ass will widen so I can put more things inside of it. I feel like it's very possible. If anybody can inform me on how I can get some kind of good kind of cancer, I would really like to know. It's important to me. It is important to me.
See that the actual positioning of the port per se is not accurate. Also, the way that it's secured, the type of tape that's used, is not the same clinical tape that we would use in the hospital.
Compare Maddie's port to that of Anna Tower,
And I don't know if you've ever seen a cancer port. They're not usually this sloppy.
Well, she was going to the hospital in India, so they do it differently there, okay? In India, if you go to the hospital, they just straight up shoot you in the chest with a gun, take the bullet out, and then stick a giant feeding tube in you, okay? She was on a different wave, okay? She was on some third world type shit.
Didn't end there.
There's nothing in that bag. This would be where the nutrition would be. And if she was actually
Deadpool cancer? Well, then I just get really annoying in Reddit. Oh, you can become Deadpool. Wow, so awesome. So I can constantly look at the camera and be like, huh? Isn't this wacky? Did you guys see that new Deadpool movie with Wolverine? It was like an entertaining watch for what it was, but every time Deadpool spoke, I was just getting increasingly angrier with him. It was like a caricature of Deadpool.
being fed via feeding tube, this tube would be full of this white liquid. There's nothing in that.
Oh, the white liquid allegations.
So she would just be pumping air into her stomach.
Other photos featured the same inaccuracies.
Here's another one. No substances in the tubing. And her port.
That is true. There's nothing in there. There's literally nothing in the bag. It's an empty bag. Once again, with the lying, how did she think she could get away with this? Like, the lies are getting increasingly dumber. If she had just stopped at the first one, she might have been fine. But she had to just, like, try to get more and more clout from it and become, like, an influencer who's like, I'm the person with cancer. Thomas O'Leary taught me calculus back in 1991. Well, that was the old me. I was high energy back then.
Is still messy. Also, do you see that right there? That little purple spot? Yeah, that's supposed to be down in her stomach.
All of which were taken not inside a hospital, but instead her own apartment. Every other photo was simply found on Google.
This is a picture she posted. That is a European outlet. This picture is from Google.
Except for some other extremely shameful posts.
This picture alone should put her in jail. She took this picture, drained from chemo era. This was on her TikTok. Somebody reverse image searched it and found an actual person with cancer.
Wait, so she just posted a picture of a different person? Once again, how do you have to be to not think that people can just do a reverse image search? Have you never seen a YouTube video before? Everybody's seen YouTube commentary call-out videos before at this point. She had to have known that somebody would figure it out, that it's not even her. It doesn't even really look like her. I'm in the Air Force, and this girl claimed cancer that miraculously beat it after we were asking how she hasn't gotten discharged yet. Yeah, that is kind of shocking. My friend Jackson's always gooning and can't stop. They're also always booting Kratom. Godspeed, Strawman. Good luck, buddy. Jesus. I didn't even know until recently that you can, like, I didn't even know what Kratom was. And then I found out that there are people who are addicted to Kratom and do it every single day. Like, I watched some YouTube video about Kratom, and I thought it was just like this funny, like, meme drug. I didn't think it was a real thing. So I called Brandon, and I was like, yo, what's going to happen to me if I take Kratom? Because I figured he would know. And he was like, do not do Kratom. Do not do Kratom. You'll get addicted to it. Do not do Kratom. Whatever you do, don't do it.
Literally stole this photo.
Maddie took photos of actual cancer patients and posted them to her TikTok as if they were her own. Well,
Holy
as a
shit.
result, police received a report that Russo had taken money and donations from more than 439 donors, leading to a warrant to search the Bettendorf apartment of Madison Marie Russo. There, police found a brown paper bag with medical supplies, an IV pole with a feeding pump filled with cotton balls, two boxes of transparent dressing and a wig, plus a brand new 2023 Kia Sportage.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me. First of all, people are going to be like, it's Kia Sportage. Well, it's a Kia Sportage, so you can pronounce it, wrong, based. Secondly, you scammed people and you lied about having cancer so you could buy a Kia Sportage of anything you could buy, of any car you could buy when you scam people. You bought a Kia Sportage? You loser. What is wrong with you? Look, the Kia Sportage is probably a fine economy car. Okay, it's probably totally fine. I'm sure, there's plenty of happy customers who spent their hard-earned cash on a Kia Sportage and it's fine. It's probably a good family vehicle. It probably has good safety ratings. But if you're gonna scam people, at least get something cool. At least buy something good. If I scammed people, I would scam for way more money, first of all. If I got only 40 grand, I'd be like, guys, I need triple. And then I would buy something really sick, okay? If you're already lying like this and you probably think you're gonna go to jail, I assume she knew she was going to go to jail at some point if she was lying about this. Like, get something cool. Boogie's hella jealous. Yeah, Boogie got a fourth of this, and he had to give half of it back and then give up his play button, dude. Why would you do this to yourself? Get anything else. Hope she wins her case, and maybe she can become a part of the channel after. She can become my official co-host. She'll be an expert in lying about cancer, so anytime I have some story where someone's lying, she can give her input.
Purchased with her GoFundMe money. Police then searched Maddie's medical records, taken from Genesis Trinity, which showed that although Russo was a patient, she was never treated for any cancers or tumors. Police therefore froze her bank account, and Maddie was arrested. 6 months later, Maddie appeared in court, making the wild claim that she had a broken family, and faking cancer was her strategy to bring them back together.
I didn't do this for money or greed. I didn't do this for attention. I did this in an attempt to try and get my family back together. It didn't work and it only got worse.
Maddie's lawyer then explained how being exposed ruined Maddie's life.
At the gym, she's had people approach her and verbally accost her.
You know what, man? The thing is that probably was her justification, to be honest. In her mind, that probably is why she did it. Now, she did eventually get greedy, but at first that probably is her genuine explanation, which is not a good justification, but that probably is the case. Like, once again, like I said, these like pathological liars or people who make false accusations, a lot of the time, like something bad will happen to them and they'll feel wronged. Like maybe her mom and dad are fighting and they'll try to like come up with any justification to do this lie so that they can try to, fix whatever's wrong with their life. It's not a defense, but that probably is like genuinely the reason she did it at first. Although, then why post it online though, actually? Okay, actually, I think it's Tom the Kind-Hearted. I'm not being kind-hearted, to be clear. This bitch is evil. But that probably is why she did it. At least that's what I was thinking. But why post it online then? And why go so far? You know what? Here's what I'll say. Maybe that justification would work if she only did it privately. If she only told it to her parents. But she told it to the entire internet. So it must go beyond that. She's saying what her lawyer told her to say. I mean, that's the job. That's the lawyer's job, right? Like, imagine being her lawyer. You're in a pretty tough position there. You know, you're in a pretty tough spot. It's like, once again, we just talked about Diddy's lawyer. They were like, the government was like, why do you have 40,000 bottles of lube in your house? And he's like, Americans buy in bulk. Like, what else do you say? You know, the lawyer's job at that point, if you're a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney, and your client is clearly guilty, is to come up with some story. It's like with the is it Hernandez twins? Not Hernandez. No, I'm thinking of Aaron Hernandez. What are their names? I just watched some shit about them. Twins that their parents. Menendez. Yeah, the Menendez brothers, okay? Those guys, their justification was that their father was abusive, right? That was their justification. And that may have been the case. I don't know. I mean, I'm not them. I don't know what happened in their childhood. Maybe that was the case. But realistically, that's the only defense they're going to have in court, whether it's true or not. Because if it's clear that they did that, what else are you supposed to say, right? You're going to want to have some kind of justification. You have to explain it in court, you know? You have to try and... Because at that point, if it's clear that they did the crime, the lawyer's job is just to try to get the charges knocked down and get less time for them, right? To try and appeal to someone. They were rich as... Who cares if their dad was mean? Okay, that's retarded. If somebody being rich doesn't negate childhood abuse, that's really dumb. That's super dumb. You can still feel bad for rich people. Rich people don't have no problems. Their dad showed family, friends, and people tapes they made with minors in another country. Is that true? That's insane. Well, that person in chat just said, I don't remember their name. That's like, you guys remember that Hassan take? Hassan had a really crazy take where he said that, I'll try not to paraphrase or spoil it, but he said something really crazy about rich people getting raped. Yeah, this clip. Here we go.
At least Patrick Henry College is like... At least Patrick Henry College is like doing one good thing, which is that, like, if you have these millionaire, billionaire, WASP fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is, like, in some respects, you know, from a utilitarian perspective, of course, a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, taking these guys and putting them in a pen with one another is ultimately getting them away from the broader society.
Like, that kind of take is insane. Like, didn't he grow up rich? Yes, he did. The idea that because somebody is rich, like, some kind of clearly reprehensible action is justified against them, or less bad because they're rich, is completely retarded. Like, that is like a genuinely, like, evil thing to say. I don't know how you come to some kind of conclusion like that.
I didn't do this for money or greed. I didn't do this for attention. I did this in an attempt to try and get my family back together.
You know what? I tried to extend some kind of sympathy. At one point, I tried to kind of understand it, but the fact that she did it publicly, I think, just removes any excuse. Or not excuse. I wasn't trying to give an excuse. I was trying to dive into her psychology, but I don't think that dive made any sense, you know, because she did it publicly. If she had just lied to her mom and dad, maybe that justification would have made some sense, but she didn't. And she says she didn't do it for money, but I mean, she clearly bought a Kia Sportage with the 40 grand that she rugged from people.
It didn't work, and it only got worse.
Maddie's lawyer then explained how being exposed ruined Maddie's life.
At the gym, she's had people approach her and verbally accost her. She has been at the...
Well, like, what do you think happens when you lie about cancer? Like, what do you think is going to happen? I don't think anybody's going to feel bad for you if you do that, you know? It's like you publicly, on a public platform that everybody can see, claim that you had cancer, which is a, you know, oftentimes life-threatening illness that kills millions of people around the world every year. And not only that, you got 40 grand out of it to buy a stupid car. I feel like that's not even that bad. That's not even nearly the worst thing that can happen. Is the lawyer single? Great question. That's not even nearly the worst thing that can happen to you. The lawyer looks like the assistant from Incredibles. Yeah, she kind of does. That's a good point. I love how the lawyer's argument is she's suffering the consequences of her own actions, which is unfair. What she's probably trying to do is trying to be like, look, she's already faced societal repercussions. There doesn't need to be more punishment in terms of criminal penalty. That's probably what they're trying to do. It's almost similar to like the time served argument where lawyers will be like, look, you know, my client may have murdered someone, but he's already served a year in jail while awaiting trial. So that should count towards, you know, the ultimate penalty that he faces. Green screen yourself onto a judge's bench. Good idea.
The store where she's been...
She should say she's disabled. She should.
Flipped off and cursed at and yelled at.
Although those who were deceived...
I mean, you kind of deserve to get cursed at and yelled at if you lie about, like, having cancer, right? And, like, once again, you get 40 grand out of it. Like, you kind of made your bed there.
still demanded extra punishment.
I hope Maddie Russo is held responsible. I hope Maddie Russo has to spend a great deal of time in jail. I hope Maddie Russo has to pay restitution. She preyed on my emotions and my giving nature.
The judge determined that Maddie had shown remorse.
I doubt that you will ever commit a crime like this.
Come on, bro. Really? I don't want to be too presumptuous here, but I feel like, I don't know. I remember reading statistics about how pretty women fare a lot better in jail typically, or in court, because they're, you know, sympathetic. People feel bad when they see a crying pretty woman. I feel like this is maybe a case of that, you know? Like, you don't think she's going to do it again? Well, she did do it. Like, she was like so deliberate. Like, it wasn't just a case where she lied about it once. It's like she lied about the worst thing you can lie about, arguably. She lied again. She endlessly justified the lies and like dug her hole even deeper. She made post after post trying to explain it away. She faked medical equipment. Like, it was clearly a deliberate thing, and then she got 40 grand out of it. I don't know what the typical penalty is for a crime like this, but I feel like she should definitely face some serious jail time, you know? Because if she doesn't, she's going to know that she got away with it. She can just move to somewhere else. People aren't going to recognize her, and she could do it again, privately, personally, or on the internet to other people. Who knows?
But still charged her with first-degree theft. As a result, Maddie was given a 10-year suspended prison sentence, 100 hours of community service, a $1,370 fine, and she was ordered to repay $39,000 to those who donated to her GoFundMe. However, her donors still weren't happy. As a pancreatic cancer patient who donated to her, GoFundMe refunded the money. This sentence is appalling. She lied to the court. This was for greed, not her family. To cause people to hesitate to help is the reason she should be in jail. Judge/prosecution, you failed. Maddie Russo has since disappeared from the internet.
Wow. I kind of want to see more of the court proceedings. Madison Rousseau trial. There's got to be more, right? Madison Rousseau was an inspiration to cancer sufferers. Her story gave hope to the dying. She rallied support from the Quad Cities, but it was all a sham. Rousseau, who was 18 and a freshman at St. Ambrose University, never had pancreatic cancer or leukemia or a tumor the size of a football wrapped around her spine. She collected more than 39 grand from 439 donors and cancer charities. Well, if it was more than 39 grand, why was she only ordered to pay back 39 flat? Like, why not pay back every penny? At sentencing Friday at the Scott County Courthouse, a judge ordered Rousseau to a 10-year suspended prison sentence with 10 years of probation. So she didn't actually do jail time. A judge has sentenced the defendant to 10 years in prison, but has deferred the sentence to allow the defendant to serve a period of probation instead. The defendant is not immediately sent to jail, but may be required to serve the remainder of the sentence if they violate terms of the probation. Dude, I feel like she should have at least gotten like 6 months just to scare her, you know? Because then she's actually never going to do it again. Tom's got paid promotions, at least thug shake. I'm not thug shaking, motherfucker. No. Some people might have refunded when they found out. That's true. That's a good point, actually. Damn. Well, she seems like a really bad person. I'm always curious what the lives are like for these kind of people who get exposed for doing something so bad. Like what the life is like after, you know, it gets exposed. Like for her, what is she going to have to do? Just like change. She's only like 19 or 20. She's going to have to like change her name, go to a completely different school. Because everybody at school definitely knows now, right? Every single person she went to college with it. I think it was Iowa State University. They definitely all know about what happened. All of her classmates. I can't imagine she has any friends left. So she's just going to have to go to a different college now and completely change her name. So if you look her up, you don't find it. Hawk Tuah for first female president. True. What do you think of the Jack Doherty car crash? I think it was awesome. I think it was exactly what I expected to happen if I saw him driving a McLaren. There's no way she's that young. She is, dude. Some of them age different, all right? Some of them age different. That's the truth.